You know, it's pretty ironic. I was gonna film this video on how to manage talking to multiple women at the same time, and I just got a new text from one of the when's the auditioning taking place. I'll get back to you in a second. Let me do this real quick. Okay, so I sent the message out. Get back to that when she gets back to me. But like I was previously saying, hopefully, if you've been keeping up with this kind of series, I taught you how to optimize your profile. Next, I taught you pretty much how to schedule out the date and hopefully what to do when you take them on the date. Now, those are problems me personally I had to overcome. I wasn't getting traction with women, I wasn't able to get dates, couldn't get really numbers, and I had to figure all that out. And after I overcame one problem, the next problem would occur, and so on and so forth. And I guess this is the problem that does occur if you do follow those steps and optimize everything, which is pretty much how to navigate talking to multiple women at the same time. Disclaimer. There's no way for this to sound, I don't even know how to put this, but disclaimer, fuck it, I don't recommend doing what I'm doing and talking to multiple women at the same time, because over time that will bite you in the ass, because you're not going to be able to pick which one you want. And as I previously stated, if you have too many options, sometimes that leads to indecision. So be intentional, be decisive with your decisions, and figure it out through the rest. But what I'm going to be teaching you is pretty much what I'm going to be doing myself, and that's pretty much validating the women that are talking to me. So like I previously stated, it's my belief that the man should always be leading, and if the man is leading, that means somebody needs to be chasing. And it's also my belief that when they start chasing you, that's the best indicator on which one to pick from. All right, there's no way for this to sound not douchebaggy, but if you know, you know. So the beautiful part about having women chase you and want you, and then you subsequently validating if you want them as a long-term relationship or anything of that nature, even a hookup. Talk about that later. So the beautiful part about doing that is if you do reward them by essentially you being the prize, then from my previous experiences, they turn out to be more loyal, more, to a certain extent, submissive, and essentially not as much of a headache as somebody who's super entitled or somebody that's very overly demanding and very much demanding of your attention and your monetary assets and stuff of that nature. So comment down below if you think this is slightly unethical, if I'm being a douchebag. Let me know. Love some outside feedback too. So with that in mind, how do you become the guy that they chase? Let's break it down. When you're first starting out, as much people don't say looks matter, they fucking do, because hell, it's even an expression, attraction. Now, that can be categorized on multiple different facets: your personality, how you look, how you treat other people, etc. Now, in order to optimize that attraction aspect, what I would recommend for you to do is what I'm doing personally myself, and that is leveling up in the gym. And my best course of advice, if you do decide to go on that path, is focus on building the sex muscles, as people call them, and those tend to be the shoulders, the arms, and the back. And personally, I know from first-hand experience that ladies love big arms. Truth be told, God's honest truth. So if you do need any more help with optimizing your whole entire gym routine, leave me a comment down below or leave me a DM on Instagram, and I'll be sure to get back to you with that. But let's move on to the second part, optimizing your looks. Now this is where it takes a little bit more effort. You got to find out what works for you. My hairstyle is not going to work for everybody else, and somebody else's hairstyle is not going to work for myself, and vice versa. So this is where the growing pains come, and the trial and error on your aspect needs to kick in. So if you're one of those guys who's having a hard time maintaining their long locks or trying to get rid of them, my best course of advice is to switch out your style. And for this particular reason, I'd probably recommend a mid-skin fade. That's kind of what I have right now, and this is coming from a guy with a hair transplant. So if you're one of those guys who's worried about thinning or is thinning up in the top, what they do tell you is pretty much mask that insecurity by cutting the sides even shorter, because they'll elongate the top part and pretty much camouflage those insecurities, no pun intended. So to add on to the grooming aspect, if you're one of those guys who's able to grow a beard, kind of like myself, and some people say my beard's a little bit too long, but I'm stubborn, so I'm gonna keep it as is. So if you're one of those guys who is able to grow a beard, kind of like myself, what I do recommend is every other day shaving the under hairs. That way it elongates your jawline, making it more masculine, presenting it in a better light. And to add on to that, I'd also recommend trimming kind of the sides and also the mustache hairs too. That way it's not super long, because there is a length and there is a limit that you should grow your hair. And if you're one of those guys who has a amazing jawline, don't hide that. Pretty much leave a stubble for your beard, and ladies love that even better. Trust me on that. So those are a few things you could personally do to optimize your grooming routine. So once you have all that superficial stuff out of the equation, you're pretty much left with a dilemma in this situation: how to navigate how many women you're talking to. Now, it's my best course of advice is set a maximum on how many you want to talk to. So me personally, I know I can do 3 pretty much at the same time. Now, this isn't saying you should be dating all 3 at the same time. What I do personally is schedule out. What I do personally is rank them in order. So the bottom pecking order, you schedule out the date first. The middle one, schedule out later. And the top one, the one that you are overly excited to see or have the best hopes, you schedule that one later on. So that way you're not navigating pretty much 3 women essentially at the same time. This isn't cheating. You're not that official stage yet, so you still have your conscience somewhat clear. Just tread lightly. But that's personally what I do and how I pretty much navigate essentially or juggle different women at the same time in a more ethical type of facet, if you know what I mean. But that's how I do it. Hopefully you get some inspiration and get some education or information on how you want to do it too. So yeah, it's another controversial topic, but one that needs to be said, that hopefully provides a little bit of input for you other guys who are somewhat struggling with this situation also and are trying to navigate it in a more noble facet like I am too. So if you have a different method, if you have a different system, comment down below. It might help me out too. Once again, hope you found value in this video. Hope you found some information. I upload every Wednesday and every Sunday, so be sure to come back. Be sure to follow these steps and comment down below. Let me know how it goes for you too. But it's been your boy Coach Ed. It's another late one, but a fun one to film. See you later.